In my first video back, I wanted to kind of go over who I was and then into who I am now. So I checked out some of my old videos on YouTube, on this channel actually, that I kept up, and a lot's changed. Previously, it kind of chronicled my path in Wicca and witchcraft and finding a spirituality that I attuned with. It was over 9 years ago. Obviously, a lot can change in a decade. I feel like before, obviously I was a young 20-something-year-old and I dove into Wicca and magic like crazy. I was hooked. I was in college, and being in college or high school or any kind of education system, you kind of get ingrained with learning and with soaking up that knowledge, and that's what I applied when I was starting to learn about magic and witchcraft and whatnot. I always loved school. I always loved learning and education and soaking up all the knowledge that I could. And so when I dove into paganism, it was something that I took to seriously and almost academically. But especially in college, it's something where you're used to being part of these courses and this schedule of learning that you've chosen. It's something that you're actively seeking to learn because you're interested in it. And that's how I was with like Wicca and witchcraft. So of course I Googled, as you do when you're interested in something, and I came across a small store called Widdershins. And in my small Texas college town, it was not a very common thing to be anything other than like Christian, Catholic. It's a college town, but still it was mostly pretty conservative. This shop, I can't even explain the feeling that I had when I first visited this shop, but I'll try. So walking into Widdershins for the first time, meeting Deborah, the woman who owned the store for the first time, it was amazing. It was magical with a K. Honestly, the conversation that I had with her, just thinking about my own spiritual path and what I was looking for, something that I was found wanting, it instantly connected me. So she had told me about these classes that she was going to start teaching about witchcraft, focusing, I think it was primarily on Wicca, but more so the science of witchcraft is what it kind of was. And joining that class, it opened up my eyes to something that I really didn't ever think I was going to be able to commit to as strongly as I did. We had a group of us who signed up for the classes, and she had let us know that, of course, as we go through it, people who are the fluffy bunny type pagans, they're not going to want to stay, and it's true. The people that stuck around were people who were actually interested in learning in the science of magic, as opposed to just casting spells on your enemies and whatnot. So we had substance, and it was important to me. It wasn't just something like a hobby. It was something that I found deep within myself was fulfilling, to be honest. Not soon after we started the classes did our teacher invite us to a pagan festival. And when I say pagan festival, I mean hundreds of people, all who practice some sort of paganistic, magical tradition, all together camping for a weekend in a 100-acre plot of land designated specifically for this purpose. And I can't even fully grasp the first feelings that I had when I was there. I was blown away, to be honest. Never before had I thought there would be something like this, especially in Texas, but there was. And ever since then, I've been going to these festivals for years. It's been about 9 years or so, and I don't plan on stopping. And I'll go over more about the festivals and whatnot in other videos, just because that's a whole world of its own. But that certainly did keep me on that path. It reinstilled within myself the interest I had in finding something beyond just day-to-day college student life. So, started paganism when I was in college. Fast forward to now. I am 31 years old, married to one of the drummers that I had met my first festival out there like a bunch of years ago, and living in Austin, Texas. Moving away from the community that I had and the circle that I had. We called ourselves a circle, not a coven, because we all kind of learned and shared and grew together. Moving away from them was definitely different. Instead of being able to get together and learn in person and even celebrate the holidays and the changes in the seasons, leaving that, it definitely left me a little bit alone and kind of on my own path, which is fine. I think it's important for people to step away from a group situation to really focus on themselves, but it really kind of, in a way, made me drop everything. And I know that sounds bad just because it's always there. Any kind of spirituality that you have, it's always going to be there. But for me, I definitely noticed a lack of practice and a lack of learning and a lack of interest in anything beyond what was just immediately happening. So going to these pagan festivals twice a year for the past 9 years or so, I started to feel that sense of wanting, that sense of feeling like there's something that I need, that I'm not getting, that I'm not searching for, giving myself. And I felt like it was time for a change. And so that's kind of why I'm starting these videos back up, just as an exploration for my own self and what I do believe, because it's changed. I know the path that I was on before, the mostly Wiccan path with degree systems and everything, I mean, it was great. It definitely was a great introduction. I think a lot of what I am believing and searching for, it's no longer classified as Wicca. I still consider myself a witch in a way, but a lot of the more hermetic paths have been interesting to me, and so that's what I wanted to explore with these videos. Just as a brief mention, things like goddesses and gods and magic and ritual and correspondences and all of these things that we use, all of the tools and the connections that we have to the universe. I think that the perception I had of them when I was first learning in that small town Texas, it's definitely changed. I think a lot of what I had thought previously, or the approaches I had to magic and to energy and to really the universe, I mean, it's definitely different now. And I want to know what that means to me. I want to know what each of those things, what the world is to me right now, because I think that finding something beyond just the mundane day-to-day, finding meaning in that's fulfilling. It's something that would change your life. But I don't feel too bad about it, just because I know that life works in phases, right? So you'll be interested in something one day and then you might drop it for like a period of a couple of months. In my case, it was 6 years or so. But you'll pick it back up and you'll start to refocus and reinvent what your philosophies are. And that's something that I think I'm really excited about doing right now. I've been listening to a lot of, polemic sort of influences. Lon Milo Duquette, for instance, is right currently now on my podcast list. But yeah, I'm excited. I think this is going to be a really fun exploration, and I think there's a lot of people out there as well who might be going through the same thing, and maybe this video will help, or maybe I can find their videos. But self-fulfillment's a big thing, and self-actualization. And so I don't know. Well, I guess that's it. So thank you for listening to my video, but I look forward to posting a lot more and getting better lighting and getting better sound and everything and cleaning up the room a little bit. But thanks, and I look forward to exploring everything with you guys.